Let's just settle into our meditation posture. And just check in with yourself. How are you doing? In a way that you would check in with a friend. Maybe you didn't see your friend all day. They just came home. How was your day? How are you doing? So you could be that kind of friend to yourself. Take a nice deep breath. And if you are sitting at your desk and your feet are flat on the floor, have your feet about a hip's width apart. Shoulders aligned with the hips, and really be sitting on top of your sits bones. And lengthen your spine. Imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And again, just lengthen the spine. Try and put some space in between the vertebrae. Again, take a nice deep breath. And then just notice if there are any sounds in your environment. Just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow them with your mind. Then notice the thoughts that are arising. Just allowing those thoughts just to bubble up. Try not to, criticize yourself. And rejoice in your virtuous thoughts. We pay so much attention to all the things that are wrong in ourselves and others. So just let all the thoughts arise, all our critical thoughts, all our angry thoughts, and you can not judge them, but you can categorize them. And this is, here I am planning, here I am kind of wishing for an alternative. Here I am fantasizing. Here I am remembering. Take it just a step back and just observe what's going on. And then as we put ourselves on the bank of our river, just watch that river flow on by and just notice the quality of the water of that river. And just notice that as you are sitting there, you're sitting on the bank, you're nice and dry, you're free from the river. Let's just bring to mind all the people of our life, our beloveds, the ones we find a bit difficult, or we just find them make us angry or irritated or whatever. We don't like them. And then there's our strangers. And imagine, remember, they can change place at any time. They're also all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So just to bring to mind all these people, think we'll do this practice this evening for all their benefit, for ourselves and for the benefit of all sentient beings, and then particularly for Howard. Anybody else who you can think of? But it does sound as if Howard has had a long and maybe probably quite fruitful life if, as Elizabeth said, he wasn't yet ready to die, perhaps. So it sounds like he was still very much alert. So imagine that he is here with us. Put him next to you, Elizabeth. Have him sitting next to you, and you imagine he's doing the practice with us. So remember, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And the purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, and so we can equally change that by creating positivity instead. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, regret all of it. And the reason we're regretting is based on the logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from the present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So then we come to the power of reliance. That has two sections, the refuge and developing compassion. So we turn to the Buddha, Vajrasattva, and who we see as more like a doctor rather than a higher power who's going to fix everything for us, or somebody we have to sort of obey in this way. You know, if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell kind of thing. It's not that at all. We are just doing the work ourselves, and we're being met exactly where we're at. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made a radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are shaped like lotus petals, and they're very peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone that you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who've harmed you and have compassion for them, because they will suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And there we start with the body, and Vajrasattva, imagine, very compassionately sends powerful white nectar like coming out of a hose quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body and fills you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living body with your body in the form of inky liquid, and it pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and the lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all this inappropriate speech that we might have, blurting things out, So just imagine that all of this is purified by this powerful nectar. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dinapatita. Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam Shayam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shayam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shayam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe. So just imagine you're so happy now, your speech is completely purified, and it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So the next is a purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just imagine the same as when you walk into a pitch black room, you flick on the switch, and that dispels instantly the darkness in the room. The light dispels the darkness. So the same here, the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and anger and violence and depression, bitterness, resentment, jealousy, grudges, all of this is instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next, imagine the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind being completely eradicated. Even this subtlest energy, negative energy from the mind. Imagine light and nectar pouring into you. Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So really try and imagine this. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now the fourth and final step in our purification process, and is a really crucial one, is this determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind, or to at least think about refraining from harming. So once you put that seed, once you plant that seed in your mind, it just starts to grow. And all of a sudden you'll find you'll make a move to maybe kill an ant or push it out the way. And all of a sudden because you've made this decision, it's like, oh, no, not going to do that. Or you might have that thing that you want to say to somebody that you may not have thought through before you open your mouth, and you'll be like, oh. So it's also some kind of a natural, it helps us with a bit of restraint. And so as we're starting to change the way we think, the way we think towards ourselves, the way we think about others, those negative neural pathways will start to atrophy. And you'll find just habitually you'll be refraining from doing all these things which were harmful to yourself and others. So just rejoice in the work you've done and think of something you would like to keep on working on. Maybe it's this kind of negative self-talk. It'd be good to try and get on top of that. Because if you're not being kind to yourself, how can you be kind to others? It's got to start with us, with our own heart, with our own kindness towards ourselves. So just think of it that way. So this determination to not do again, to not harm again, and this gives us the strength to change. So imagine Vajrasattva's delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So just merging. And next, this little bit on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a while. You can think of, all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this purification to all living beings, particularly dear Howard, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then also, if any of you have His Holiness as a teacher, or you sort of think about him, respect him, receive teachings for him, just make strong prayers in your heart for him to have a long life and a healthy life and a happy life. And then for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then also any of your own personal teachers, just pray for them to have long lives. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll do Medicine Buddha tomorrow morning. And nice to see Source there for a moment.